One, two, three. No. Sego sego guego. Sinoli sa yugyat. Was kalewa ge. Kanya ke haga ni kat de lolo. Kanta ji honjade ne. Ne. Jonala te ze goa. Yori wage. Dana oni. Also. Yori wagwego. Skana. Kasas nasla. Dano. Kahne gohlio. Hello everyone. My name is Alan Smoke. My Indian name is Sonoliza. I'm from the Mohawk Nation. I come to talk to you today about the white pine and about the three principles that the peacemaker and Hiawatha made: the strength, the power, and the good mind. I have heard that you've got a sapling for the Canada 150, and it's a white pine. I'm going to teach you a little bit about it today. When before the Confederacy was formed, there was a person. His name was Hiawatha. He was going through some hard times in his life. He had lost three daughters, and another 5 later on, and his wife, through this man named Tododaho, who wanted his daughters, but Hiawatha said no. And so this man, he was a great sorcerer, and he took them from him through his power. So this man, Hiawatha, who lost 7 daughters and a wife, had no other place on this earth, he thought. And his, you know how the sun comes up in the morning and it makes it real bright? He lost that in his life. That's what they said, the great sadness came. And he had no reason to be here on earth, so he went in the woods to reconcile, to think about what's going on with him. He sat by a lake, and he was looking at the lake, and as he'd seen the lake, it was, you know how the waves go? And the sun was sparkling off it. And he was looking at it, and he started thinking about the way his daughters used to play around and act, and his wife, how she used to be around too, and make him feel good. Then later on, the waterfowl, the geese, the ducks, the birds, they started landing on this lake. And that sparkliness started getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And as the ducks filled that lake, it took all that glimmer of light out. And that's all was in his body, the emptiness, they say. And every once in a while, the ducks would separate, and that glimmer of light would come back, and he'd think about it again. Then it'd go away. All of a sudden, the birds, they all took off at once. Took the water with them, because that's what ducks do. They soak in water. And then the bottom of the lake, he seen some wampum shells. And he grabbed them. He looked at them. He found some string he had on him, and he started stringing them up. And he thought to himself, he says, I feel so bad. You know, and he's thinking to himself, if there's anybody in this world that feels as bad as I do, I'm going to give him these shells, this string of wampum, and tell him how bad I felt and what I did to come out of this grief. So he had one. It was for his eyes. He said, what I'm going to do to this person is offer him these condolences, these words, and take this buckskin, this white buckskin, and wipe his eyes with it to take away the dust of death and make his eyes clear so he can see this beautiful outdoors, the sunlight, the trees, the birds. And they did another one. He stringed up another one. And he said, this is for his ears. Because when I was in this spot, this depression, I couldn't hear nothing. He says, so I'm going to offer these words of condolence to this person. I'm going to take this feather from this eagle, and I'm going to dust away the dust from his ears so he can hear again. He can hear the birds. He can hear the trees. He can hear the wind. He can hear those children playing again like he used to do outside. He said, and he strung up another one. He says, I'm going to give somebody this one to clear their throat. Because when you're sad, you get a lump in your throat. Is that right? He says, so I'm going to give them this one. I'm going to offer these words of condolence. They're going to take this morning rain, the dew, they're going to give him in a cup and have him drink it, and it's taking that sickness away. Open up his airways so he can breathe again. So as he's thinking about this, a man comes up. He says, hey, who are you? Where did you come from? He says, my name is the Peacemaker. I come to offer these three principles. It's called the good mind, the power, and the peace to your people who have been warned for over 100 years and just doing bad things to each other. He says, I want to put a stop to it. And others had been thinking about this peace that they've heard of. So they were really intrigued about it. So Hiawatha and him, they started talking. They sat down beside each other, and they started talking. He says, I got this message. He says, I got these condolence strings that I think we can put these together and we can work it. We can bring it out into a nice thing. It's an ideal right now. So he says, okay. He says, I'm going to go with you, and we're gonna work this together. And so they go to the Mohawks, the Oneidas, the Onondagas, the Cayugas, and the Senecas, and they offer this. And some of them, they listen, they hear him, and they come with him. This one Onondaga man that I told you about, his name is Taradaho. He's a sorcerer. And he doesn't like this peace because it doesn't work in his favor. Because he likes this craziness that's going on. So they all get together, these 11 chiefs, and they go to him and they talk to him. And Hiawatha, he's singing this song as he's going, and he's calming everything down. Because as sorcerer, he likes to bring up the winds and the winds and the winds and throw things at them. So they sing this song to calm that down. And then when they go there, again, they really talk to him. They start combing his hair because this man named Taradaho, he's got snakes in his hair. So they sing this song, and they comb his hair, they take all the snakes out, and they make his body into a nice body. They stand him up. He says, now we're going to gather around this pine tree, this great white pine, which is here. And I have it here too, a big branch. We're going to gather around here, and I'm going to tell you about this white pine. He says, this is going to be a symbol of our peace, our coming together. If you look at the needles right here, there's 3 of them on one. Actually, this one has 5. That represents the 5 nations that come together as one. And the 3 needles represents the peace, power, and good mind. It's all in this tree, this great white pine that they're going to plant today. And in this tree, you've got to put all your minds together as one. Ashka and Dawawa at Nuni, when we plant this tree, and put the power into it to help it grow. So when it grows up and you can watch it grow, you can think about those 3 principles. The peace, the power, and the good mind. So when you have a conflict amongst each other, you can think about these 3 principles. How can we use these 3 principles to make this good, make this peace again? So that's what I brought to you today. Also on this white pine, there's a big medicine. In the spring and fall, we get sick. We just get a cold. It's that change, the weather changing. So you take a length like this, about this size, and you chop it up into little pieces all the way up and put it in the boiling water. Let it boil for about 20 minutes and drink it. This has the most vitamin C. It has more vitamin C in here than an orange. And this will build your immune system and make you well again. It's not gonna do it like a Tylenol, but it'll help your body later, like maybe a couple of days later down the road. But you won't get sick for a while. So this is all the knowledge that this peacemaker knew way back then, about this tree that we call the Great White Pine. Jonalat Dezegoa. And you got to think about back in those days how how much knowledge this man had. And that's why we greet him every day. And I think about this tree every day. We thank the trees, we thank the birds, we thank the winds, we thank the waters, we thank the people, the children. We also thank the fish. Because if we don't have all those things together, this creation will just leave us. And that's why we got to think about it every day. We got to thank them. When you get up in the morning, just say thank you. And before you go to bed, say thank you. To everything. To the birds, to the sky, to the winds, to the sun. The sun today that brings us warmth. Because all winter we were cold. Now it's really warm out. Just got to say thank you. And that's all we wanted. That's all the Creator wanted for us to do, was to just say thank you.
I don't know.
We'll come back. If you remember, raise your hand, okay?
Why is pine trees has different colors?
Why does a pine tree have different colors? Like, what color are you talking about? The yellow? Oh, right there. Okay. That's just in the spring and fall time, they grow new needles. So the brown ones and the red ones, they're like, they had their time. And so when they fall off into the ground, they have time to feed the big tree. And the new ones will start growing again. So that's just like a cycle of life right there. Does that answer your question? Yeah, good one.
How do pine trees grow?
Okay, when you give thanks to like the thunders that came around, a couple days ago, the winds, the thunders, and they bring that precious rain. We call it ohneganos, which means precious liquid. And you call it rain. That feeds the ground. And then the roots from that, it eats it. And that's when the trees will grow.
Why are pine trees so special?
Well, the pine trees are so special because it reminds us of a peace that we had in one time. And they have really, really good medicine in it. And for us, the Ungwehue, the Haudenosaunee, it lets us know where our territory is, how far it goes. And that's what another one why the Peacemaker said, we're going to remind you about that.
What other kind of pine trees are there?
There's red pine, white pine. I guess you can call them spruces, like Christmas trees. That's part of their family. They're called cousins. There's a lot of them. Forever greens, the cedars are one of their cousins too.
The pine cones fall off.
Yes, they do. The pine cones do fall off. See, when you see pine cones, that reminds me of you, the children. And when a pine cone falls off, it makes a new tree. It makes a new tree like this, which means we're going to have a new generation of peace, power, and good mind. So that's why the pine cones fall off. It makes no trees. Is that good?
How do pine trees grow?
They grow when the pine cones fall off, and when you see them and they open up like this, each one of those little pods is a seed. And when the squirrels come around, they'll start eating them and they'll deliver them kind of, and put them all over the woods to hide, and they'll forget about them, and then a new one will grow. That's why nature is really, really complicated and complex. And they do that. They do that for each other. Is that good? My Gustoa is Mohawk Nation. Gustoa. It's got 3 feathers up, which when you're in council reminds everybody else of who you are. And on Onondaga, they'll have 1 feather up and 1 feather down. In Oneida, they'll have 2 feathers up and 1 feather down. The Cayugas, they'll have 1 up. Oh, no. Cayugas have 1 down. And the Senecas have 1 up. So if you ever see them, like if you go to a powwow or whatever, you'll know that, and you can tell your friends, you know what, that person's Oneida or Onondaga or Seneca or Mohawk. So that's why we wear the Gustoa. These ones they're turkey feathers, and I have a little bit of eagle feathers in there. These are golden eagle feathers, and my frame's made out of leather.
Different color. The oceans are different color. Why the oceans are different color? The oceans different color. Are different color.
Ellen would know. I don't know.
Why are pine cones so special?
Why are pine cones so special? Because without them, you won't have no more new trees. This was once a pine cone, and this is what grows the new ones. In a pine cone, they have probably 50, 60 seeds in it, and this is one of them. So without the pine cones, you won't have no trees. See what I mean?
Why do you have feathers on your hat?
It's to remind us of who we are. Like the 3 feathers up would be Mohawks, and the turkey is what I went hunting for. You like the eagle feathers? Are pretty, eh? Yeah. Sometimes you can go in the woods and find a turkey feather like that over there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like you'll have a lot of goose feathers laying around now. The goose are back.
Yes, we've been pretty busy. We went outside and checked out the pine trees that are close to our school, and we were painting them and discovering about them a little bit more before you came.
Mm-hmm.
And we also together created a pine tree card. I'm going to ask maybe my leader, John, and Mrs. Taylor, who's your leader's name? Anastasia. So Anastasia and John, if you come up to present this to Alan.
Thank you. Nyawa.
They're very proud of it.
Yeah.